Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Now, before I talk about why I'm Christ and why it's obvious, and why I'm not from a Jewish patriarchal line, in terms of, white Jews, in terms of that sort of thing, and why it's obvious that the most righteous person ever possible isn't a Jew, let me first say that I'm not saying that Jews should be put in a concentration camp. I'm not saying that they can't live in the same country as I live in. Okay. What I'm saying is that it is obvious for many reasons. One, look at the screen here. This was an ad that came up on my phone. I didn't look for it. It came up on the phone. There were probably Jews themselves who took the picture, who came up with it. Everyone in that picture, as far as I can tell, is either a Jew or a crypto Jew. That picture is not, advertising for Tel Aviv or Israel or some kind of Jewish organization. As far as I know, it's some kind of business ad. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad or good thing, but what is a bad thing is the spirit that they're propounding. And that spirit is a mocker spirit. Now, part of them is a kind of nice person, is a friendly person, if you're playing by their rules. Okay, and you can see it in their face. Look at their faces carefully. Part of them is a pretty nice person or something. But then what is dominating the picture is this sort of sarcasm, this sort of mockery. Well, I haven't had a date in 8 years, while I'm sabotaged and America refuses to compensate me. Okay, and again, I'm not about money, but it's an insult because people are going out of their way to make it so that I look bad. They're filming me, they're poisoning me, they're doing things to my clothes so I dress in a way that doesn't match, and so on and so forth. Okay, why this is taking place? Like the blackface mockery, there are people from various races who are mocking, and one of the bills that rings the loudest are Jews. And again, I'm not saying that people should attack them or that, that they should be expelled from America. I'm not saying that. And this video, in fact, I forgot to say this, is, it's for Jews first and foremost so they can understand the situation. Do you think it's fair that I'm being cheated, my rights are being taken away for corporate partnerships of dominatrixes that are white, Jew, and LGBT heavy? Okay, and it's not their race or sexual orientation is the problem so much as the fact that they're taking away my rights and they won't compensate me and they're lying about God and so on and so forth. Do you think that's fair? And that they're mocking me while I'm being fumed and poisoned, while they've killed family members, while they've crippled me basically permanently, partially crippled me. Okay, I have back problems. I can't do martial arts without injuring myself because of how they have messed up my body with technology, fumes, and poisons. And they want to blame my technique or this, and it doesn't make sense. Before it got this bad, my body got this bad, I couldn't do martial arts because of brain injury from fumes and poisons, right? They blinded me. And I have 23 witnesses on record to the psychological operation against me, including fumes and poisons. And I filed police reports and written to Justice Department and the FBI, and they refused to investigate it. They just gave me a superficial answer. They told me to go to the police departments who I told them were involved in it. That's how they responded to my letter to the Justice Department. And I went on record with that letter. I've posted it on the internet somewhere here. Now I'm going over time here. I want you to focus on their characteristics. They look careless, right? Carefree, reckless, senseless. Okay? They look irresponsible, scatterbrained. They're mocking. In a sense, they're sneering, right? They're smirking in a sense. Look carefully. There's a part of them, it's like a demon that's saying, ha, 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 this works for me while you all suffer. If you don't think that's wrong, then there's something wrong with you. I want you all to take a good look at that. When you say that salvation is from the Jews, and most, a lot of Israelis, like maybe half, 60%, 80% in Israel look like that. And a lot of them are Orthodox, and they're kind of, they're scatterbrained too, kind of uncoordinated, not very serious. Okay, what you're saying is an insult to God. And if you don't agree, please put in the comments. I'm not trying to insult the Jewish community. I'm trying to help you understand why I'm mad. Excuse me, why I'm mad. And I'm mad at everyone outside the divine order, and most of them, from what I gather, aren't Jews. But I'm mad for a good reason. And it's moral outrage It's righteous anger. It's righteous indignation. And I have a right to express that without people fuming and poisoning me and causing me to stumble on my words and changing my voice. They ruined my playlist. They ruined basically all my videos to some degree, including my playlist about my life story. That's how immature. And then they're posting pictures like this all the time, making fun of people. And lots of people are suffering in America right now. And they're saying, don't be anti-Semitic, when the main people who are benefiting from the pain of Americans are rich whites, Jews, and LGBT people, and token minorities who are white, Jew, and LGBT washed. If you disagree, please, please, please put in the comments instead of being like a Nazi or a communist taking away my rights. Thank you.